Thunder fans are salivating over the thought of the team having 3 players on the Olympic team in 2028 for Team USA. Now we know Lou Dort, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are going to be playing for Team Canada. We kind of have that figured out already in the bag. By then, they should still be some of the best Canadian basketball players in the world, if not the 2 best. So that's kind of a for sure lock that those 2 guys are going to be playing for Team Canada in the 2028 Olympics. But Team USA gets a little bit more difficult because a lot of the guys that were playing on Team USA the last time around for the Olympics are about to retire. They're really old. They won't be playing for that team anymore. So it comes down to like, you got to replace them. And you're going to see pretty much a brand new whole team for Team USA in the next Olympics. And Lowe and Bill Simmons, as much as you guys might like him or hate him, have 3 Thunder players for that team. One of them for the wrong reasons, I think, but we can kind of talk about that, dive into it, and why I can kind of agree with their take, even for one that was kind of an outlier that, you know, a lot of people might not believe he'll make an Olympic team by then because of how stacked this Thunder team is. And some people just might not know about how good and potential this one player has. Before we get into all that, though, quick moment to recognize that 1 sec. Let me pull it up. Sorry, I have like a lot of allergies going on, so you guys might see me itch my nose a little bit every now and then, but 61% of you guys are not yet subscribed to the channel. If you guys enjoy the content and you find yourself coming back on a regular basis, why not go ahead and hit that subscribe button? You're already coming back. With that out of the way, let's go ahead, get into talking about what was said on the Zach Lowe. I can't remember what his podcast is called, but Zach Lowe's podcast. You guys might have listened to it before. I believe it's on The Ringer, if I'm not mistaken. But Bill Simmons also agreed with him on these takes. Kind of they were laying out what the 2028 Team USA Olympic team was going to look like. They had a lot of players on there. Some already listing who they're going to think are starters. They think Cooper Flagg's already going to be starting for Team USA by then. They have Paolo Banchero as the starting center, which I feel like is not a great idea considering his size. But they did have Jalen Williams listed as a starter. They did have that. I'll go and pull up one of the tweets that I found the other day. Thunder Chats, friend of the channel. You guys have seen him before. Said Zach and Bill both have Dub as a starter and Chet, but Bill has Caso joining the party too. So that's nice to see them agree on it. Zach Lowe was a little bit hesitant as well, but if I'm not mistaken, he ended up agreeing with him as well. But having both, having Dub as a starter, which I completely agree with. He's already a top 20 player in the NBA, and think about how much international talent is in the league right now. In 2-3 years, Dub will probably be more than likely a top 10 player in the league. Chet will probably more than likely be a fringe top 10 player in the league as well. So it makes sense to have these guys on the team. But Cason Wallace is a little bit of an outlier if you think about it, because he comes off the bench. He started in one playoff game last year. It was game 1 of the finals. All right. And more than likely, he was coming off the bench, and sometimes he wasn't even the first guy off the bench. Sometimes it was Alex Caruso first off the bench. Sometimes it was Aaron Wiggins. It kind of depends on the night. So it's a little bit of an outlier, but we do have the reason why Bill Simmons has Cason Wallace on his 2028 U.S. Olympics team. It's a bet on him on what he's going to be like in the next couple of years. And he's betting on him to progress. And I think Cason Wallace is going to be great as well. You figure Lou Dort and Caruso, and this is where I have a little bit of a problem. You guys, I might freak out a little bit too much over this, but I don't think they have both in a couple of years. The second apron makes it impossible. If I have to hear another comment about the second apron, I will lose my mind. I will. I'm tired of hearing people talk about how the second apron will ruin this team and it's going to create more opportunities for other players. People don't truly understand what the second apron is. They don't. By the time the Thunder would have to worry about the penalties for the current second apron and current CBA, we will have a new CBA. The salary cap will increase by multitudes of millions of dollars. So I don't want to keep hearing about this second apron stuff. I don't. It just doesn't make sense to be talking about a second apron problem that will only occur in 4 or 5 years when we have a brand new CBA. So I'm tired of hearing this stuff. Thank you, Bill Simmons, for giving props to Cason Wallace, but also why talk about the second apron when that's really not going to necessarily be a huge problem for the Thunder, because they have a way to just avoid it completely with their draft picks and with the salary cap increasing and with owners paying the taxes, because they won't have to worry about the taxes, because by the time they've been in the second apron for too long, we will have a brand new CBA to worry about. Sorry for that little rant, but I'll go in and finish this up. He's going to keep getting big minutes in big games. I think he'll have to handle the ball a little more as the years pass. Maybe he can be my second ball handler. And so, like, thank you for appreciating what Cason Wallace can be and what I think he can be as well. You have it for the wrong reasons, though, thinking it's the second apron is the reason he's going to progress. He's going to progress because he's a good player. He has a hard work ethic. That's why he's going to progress, not because a second apron's going to come around and ruin the Thunder like many people think it's going to do. People keep comparing it to the Boston Celtics. I know the Boston Celtics are Simmons' team. I know that. He's thinking it's the exact same situation, though, like everyone else, when the Celtics and Thunder are in two completely different situations. So don't keep on saying this player's going to be good because the second apron's going to ruin the team, and then they're going to come in here and start and get all these big minutes. I know this is a lot right now, but stop it. The second apron is not as scary to the Oklahoma City Thunder as it was to the Boston Celtics because the Boston Celtics didn't know how to stockpile picks or spread out money over the years like the Oklahoma City Thunder. They were paying their starters almost all max contracts. No team can survive like that. The Thunder have 3 max contracts right now that are going to slowly, lose value. They're still going to be making a certain percent of the cap. All right, start off with 30, 30, and 35, I believe. Or no, it's 25, 30, 35, 35 for Shai, 30 for Dub, 25 for Chet. So, like, it's just frustrating to see all of this. It is. It's frustrating to see people talk about the second apron and just keep on going on about how it's going to ruin the Thunder, but it's not. Thank you for giving Cason Wallace his props, but you have it for the wrong reasons. I can go ahead and bring up the stats now to kind of talk about these players progressing and why they're going to be on the Olympic teams. Cason Wallace, these are his stats right here. The most kind of, I say wishy-washy of the 3 that he selected for the Thunder, but you can kind of see it in, these stats a little bit. 8.4 points per game, 3.4 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and almost 2 steals a game coming off the bench. Like, he is a great defensive player, and that's what, really makes him excel on the court and as a bench player. All right? If he becomes a starter, I could see his points per game increasing along with his assists per game. All right? But it's just off the bench right now. You can see it, and it's his defensive capabilities. I want to see more from him offensively. The numbers are there offensively, 35% from 3, 47% from the field. Realistically, Cason Wallace needs to turn into a 3-and-D player that we've seen with Dort a little bit. Increase his 3-point shot. That's a big thing I got for Cason Wallace is become a better 3-point shooter. Get as close to 40% as possible. That's the only goal that I have set in mind for Cason Wallace for him to improve upon. The next guy, Jalen Williams. Let me look at this. Was this ever even really a doubt that eventually Jalen Williams is going to be on the Olympic team? Was this ever really a doubt? When you look at the stats, no. 21.6 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, 5.1 assists, 1.6 steals, almost a block per game as well. He shot it pretty well, 48% from the field, 36.5% from 3. He's still young, 24 years old. By the time the Olympics roll around, he's going to be close to 27, if not 27 right there, entering his prime. That's when you want someone on that Olympic team. And he could very well end up being the best USA player for the Olympics. He very well could. And then the final guy that Bill Simmons and Zach Lowe mentioned, Chet Holmgren. The stats are a little bit skewed, all right? But look at the shooting percentages. Almost 38% from 3, 49% from the field as this tall, lanky big man who I still think needs to put on a little bit more, not necessarily muscle because he's already strong, like just overall weight, put on like 5 to 10 pounds more and he'd be perfect in my eyes. There's not really much I want Chet to improve upon besides just getting his weight up a little bit more. That's it. Just gain 5 or 10 pounds. It doesn't have to be muscle. It can be a little bit of fat as well. If it, just gain a little bit of weight. That's the only thing I have set for him. It might sound rude, especially coming from me who needs to lose weight, but just saying that's the only thing I have set in mind for Chet Holmgren. Him and Jalen Williams, I think, by the time they reach their prime, which is 3 to 4 years from now, when they're entering it, they're going to be great players that both averaging close to 25 a game. That's crazy to think about because this team still has Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So, like, all these players I can see making the team. Cason Wallace is going to be a little bit more difficult because it's going to be hard for him to be a starter on the Thunder. That's the big thing. It's just going to be hard for him to be a starter and actually showcase what kind of player he is with how stacked this team is. So, like, that's the one I'm hesitant on. I want him to play for Team USA in the Olympics in the future, but it's just going to be more difficult for him to actually do it because of how good this team is. Because unlike what Bill Simmons believes, because he only follows the Boston Celtics when it comes to basketball, because that's his favorite team. He's from New England. The Oklahoma City Thunder are going to have the same situation when it comes to the salary cap as the Boston Celtics. In 2028, we're going to get a brand new CBA, all right? And the Thunder won't have to worry about the second apron for another season. Going into the 2026-2027 season, that's when they got to worry about the second apron, and you need multiple years, I think it's 3, of being in the second apron to get the penalties. By the time we have a new CBA, the Thunder will only be in the second apron 2 years, maybe even just a year. So we don't got to worry about that. So let's stop worrying about the second apron. But thank you, Bill Simmons, for giving props to Cason Wallace on the player, on what you think he can be. Because I also think Cason Wallace can be a legit dude in the NBA. That's all I got for this video. Do you guys also think Cason Wallace is going to make the U.S. Olympic team or not? Let me know in the comment section below. See you guys in the next one.